Good evening and welcome, and my apologies for the problems that we've had trying to go live, but there again the weather seems to be against us. So it's good to welcome dear Miriam and Veronica, and we're sorry that we've lost some of our viewers due to the problems we've had going live. But let's just stay with our heart and trust. So let us be still and come into the presence of love. And thank you, dear Veronica, for the sound and vision check. And we begin by just taking a deep breath and just relax. Although I'm very tempted, or was very tempted, to pick up the Apple Mac and to place it outside, but I don't think the doves would have appreciated the disturbance. And it's hello to Molly down under from Poppy and Clemmy here, who are snoring their little hearts out. It's always good to have our animals around us because they bring so much love, don't they? Of course they do. So we're going to begin with a lovely prayer from this little book of favourite prayers which we got off the internet. And this one is from a youth worker called Helen Gibbons. No prayer unanswered is, if he say yes, 'tis well, or he answer wait, rest suppliant at his gate. He never answers no, but that in time some richer, fuller gift is thine. Isn't that lovely? There you go. So we're going to begin with a little reflection from the late John O'Donoghue from his little book, To Bless the Space Between Us. And here we have, to cross the thresholds worthily when a great moment knocks on the door of your heart. So let's read what John shares with our hearts. It remains the dream of every life to realize itself, to reach out and lift oneself up to greater heights. A life that continues to remain on the safe side of its own habits and repetitions, that never engages with the risk of its own possibility, remains an unlived life. There is within each heart a hidden voice that calls out for freedom and creativity. We often linger for years in spaces that are too small and shabby for the grandeur of our spirit. Yet experience always remains faithful to us. If lived truthfully and generously, it will always guide us towards the real pastures. Looking back along a life's journey, you come to see how each of the central phases of your life began at a decisive threshold, where you left one way of being and entered another. A threshold is not simply an accidental line that happens to separate our region from another. It is an intense frontier that divides a world of feeling from another. Often a threshold becomes clearly visible only once you have crossed it. Crossing can often mean the total loss of all you enjoyed, while on the other side, it becomes a dividing line between the past and the future. More often than not, the reason you cannot return to where you were is that you have changed. You are no longer the one who crossed over. It is interesting that when Jesus cured the blind man, he instructed him not to go back into the village. and having crossed the threshold into vision, his life was no longer to be lived in the constricted mode of blindness. New vision meant new pastures. Today, many people describe themselves as being in transition. In a culture governed by speed, there is to be expected, for the exterior rate of change is relentless. This transition can refer to relationships, work and location, or more significantly to the inner life and way of viewing the world. Yet the word transition seems to be pale, functional, almost inadequate, and impersonal, and does not have the same intensity or psychic weight as perhaps the word threshold evokes. The word threshold was related to the word thresh, which was the separation of the grain from the husk or straw when oats were flailed. It also includes the notions of entrance, crossing, border, and beginning. To cross a threshold is to leave behind the husk and arrive at the grain. So there you have it. Beautiful words and lots of sentiment and a few challenges thrown in. Interesting about the blind man when Jesus said, "Do not return to your village." I wonder what he was saying. Is Jesus speaking to your heart from that passage? Because so often when we've had a miraculous healing of sorts, or we've had an epiphany moment, sometimes we're hesitant to go back and share with loved ones, often for fear of being scorned or scolded. But the real lesson here is to stay in your heart. And in this little book, A Heart Full of Peace by Joseph Goldstein, my eyes fell on these words. I make my mind my friend, a Japanese samurai poem. Loving kindness, on the other hand, is extraordinary precisely because it can embrace all. There is no one who falls outside of its domain. That is why when we encounter people who have developed this capacity to a great extent, the Dalai Lama, for example, we sense their tremendous kindness toward everyone. Loving kindness is a feeling that blesses others and oneself within the simple wish, be happy. The Japanese poet Issa expresses this open-hearted feeling so well. In the cherry blossom shade, there's no such thing as a stranger. I'm going to read that again. In the cherry blossom's shade, there's no such thing as a stranger. Although we may not always live in a steady state of loving feeling, through practice we can learn to touch it many times a day. So let us touch each other's loving kindness. Because you're here, because there's something within your being that draws you, even though it's an online webinar with its distractions, with its tests and its sluggish performance. But there's something innate within us, a hunger, a spiritual hunger welling up from our solar plexus. And it's calling us to surrender. It's calling us to be still. It's calling us to receive the most amazing blessing the most amazing gift from God. The gift of being loved. The gift of being in love. Let us just come now to this special place and let us invite, invoke, and call upon the Spirit of God. But not just God, Mother Earth, the nature spirits, our forefathers, and our deities. Mine is the Christ, the cosmic Christ. Who is yours? Well, whoever they are, call on them. Because you and I need their support. Because they can see us not as we see ourselves, but they see us in a profound way. They see our struggles, our difficulties, and they're there to help. They want to help us. But so often we're too busy. We're too busy to call on them. In fact, many devoted light bringers of peace, especially within the Catholic Christian tradition, have an issue with surrender. They see it as handing over your control, or they see us as like the nuns and monks of old, where they left their villages and entered their convents to disappear off the face of the earth, where many had no contact with the outside world. They became lost in the bland absences. In other words, they became a thing rather than a person. And that theology was archaic. It bore no fruit. It destroyed the individual's heart, because many lost their way. Many suffocated under the pressure of dogma, and I know I was one of them. But looking back, what a training. We can look back and smile and give thanks to God for the opportunities that we were given to be able to take back our power from those who hurt us, to bless them, and to go forward into the new millennium where we are loved. Because God for me is a God of love. A God of love, a God of peace. And yet, God gets a lot of flack from his children when they say, where is God? When Boko Haram took those 200 young girls from school in Africa 2 years on, or the abominations being committed where many Christians are being beheaded and their churches destroyed. Where is God? Well, God is there. I believe that God is in the thick of it, touching hearts to stand up and denounce the face of evil. But the great Buddha Dhammapada said, hate is not overcome by hate. Hate is overcome by love. By love. So let us reclaim that love by coming into our heart, our teacher, and therein finding that still voice, a voice that we may have ignored through illness, maybe sadness, maybe stupidity, maybe laziness. Let us come now. Join me in a reflection of the heart I've no idea where this is going, but I'm trusting in Father, Mother, God to guide my heart and yours. So let us take a deep breath. And in our out breath, let us blow love to our Father, Mother, God. And in our next in-breaths, let us breathe in the very heartbeat of God. And in our out-breath, let us bless ourselves, because often we deny ourselves love, yet we tell others, oh, I love you. Oh, you're great, you're marvelous. But inwardly, we don't know what love is, because we've never experienced love. Unconditional love, reverent, respectful, healing love. I know I spent many years of my life a wounded soldier in service to God, and I never knew what love was. The eldest son of 9 growing up in Dublin, I guess that love was battered out of me. And then you enter a monastery and you just learn to loathe yourself, to hate yourself, that you're not good enough for God, that you're a sinner, a vile, evil person. But thankfully all that psychology has changed. But for those of my generation, it's not easy to love oneself. But now I do. And when I say to you, I love you, I mean every word. Because I've had to learn to receive and treasure that gift of spontaneity and love. And you know what? You and I are loved. I'm approaching the monastery gate now. It's a windy day and bitterly cold, but I'm waiting for you at the gate, and so is Poppy and Clemmy. We're waiting to welcome you to come and join me in the conservatory where it's warmer, where there's a drop at the back garden where you can see all the hens busy picking up various pieces of grass or web lettuce, which they have every day with boiled rice and pasta. They're ruined. The hens are ruined, but they're just amazing little creatures of God. So sit with us now in the conservatory, and behind us there's a beautiful piece of cloth in gold with the Om, the breath of God. It's all in glass. It's a peaceful room. And now make yourself comfortable. And as you look up at the glass ceiling, you can see the most amazing trees in the monastery garden, blowing bilio. But there's one, and that is the silver birch. And her branches and her leaves, to watch them sway in the wind is like watching a ballet dancer perform a beautiful routine. Her movements are elegant, and she flows to the rhythmic flow of the wind. So let us relax together. Take a deep breath, and in our out breath, just be still. And now connect with the rhythm of your breathing and be comfortable. Kick off those shoes or stillies or slippers or sandals and let your feet, your sacred feet, touch the slate, the stone floor. because Mother Earth is here, and she wishes to ground you, to protect you, to bless you. And in the silence, in the stillness, in the presence of the three divas, the lungs of the universe, you are being held. You are being held as a beautiful child of love. And there is no greater love than the love that is calling your heart to embrace the I Am presence of God. Be still now. Be still and become aware of the elements around you. And be aware of Mother Earth, who has tried many times to connect with you. And here she is. She's enveloping you in selfless love. She has called on the divine, the Father, Mother God, to come to you. And your feet are on fire with that selfless love. And with every in-breath that you breathe in, you are drawing from Mother Earth that pure love. And it's flowing up through every chakra or energy wheel of your body till it comes to your heart. Wow. And as you open your eyes, you see something profound. You see a beautiful ladder in the garden. And you see angels of God ascending and descending. They are taking your requests, your gifts of love to the Supreme. And as they descend and come to you, they are bringing you a priceless gift. A priceless gift, which is love. And it is this love that's empowering you now to take a quick glance at your life and make a decision. Do I return to old ways, old beliefs, or do I take a deep breath and call on the cosmic Christ in the presence of Gaia, Mother Earth, in the presence of all the great spiritual teachers and prophets and prophetesses, and take a leap of faith? Are you ready to welcome this divine love into your heart that will set you free? And it will give you the impetus to surrender your heart each day as you present yourself before God in your morning offering, when you say, Father, Mother God, in the name of Jesus, I come to be of service. Show me how I may serve you today. How may you serve the divine now? What is Spirit asking of your heart right now? It will be something beautiful. It could be to offer a bed to a friend who's troubled. It could be to ring someone who's in distress and offer a listening ear. Or it could be to make a few fairy cakes and deliver them to those poor souls who are living on their own. And in our village we have lots of retired elderly people. Oh yes, they've got all the money the world can throw at them, but they're not happy. They're lonely. As for me, I own nothing, but I have everything. What a strange paradox. And they have everything, but have nothing. So when we bring them a little tray of fairy cakes, their eyes light up and they almost say, "Why have you done that?" And I always say, "Because I was guided to bring you something sweet and to let you know that you're loved." And I present to you now a plate of fairy cakes from the Lord. And I'm going to let you sit and enjoy and savor the words that Spirit is speaking to your heart. Because Spirit is here. And because Spirit loves you and wants you to become the tree of life. The tree of life. With your 7 branches connecting to the heaven and your 7 roots connecting to Mother Earth, making you a conduit of love, a vehicle of love. And as you sit here, you're aware of that gentle breeze. And that breeze is the Spirit of God flowing over you, flowing around you, and flowing through you. And we say the beautiful prayer, "Breathe on us, O breath of God. Fill us with life anew, that we might love what thou dost love and do what thou wouldst do. Breathe on Veronica and Celine, O breath of God. Fill them with life anew, that they might love what you do love and do what thou wouldst do. Breathe on Miriam and Molly, O breath of God. Fill them with life anew, that they might love what thou dost love and do what thou wouldst do. Breathe on all here, O breath of God. Breathe on us, your beautiful children. And let nothing disturb us, let nothing eat away at our hearts, because you are the Christ, the Son of God. And now we take a deep breath. We take a deep breath, and we are aware that we are being touched by God. And that touch is a sacred touch. It's bringing to us intimacy of touch, empowering us to self-heal and reclaim our divinity as a child of God. Relax now. Relax. Relax in the presence of God. And never forget, You were called by name because you are loved. You are a co-creator of God. Amen. And dear friends, as you take a deep breath and feel the ground under your feet, just relax and receive that spiritual hug from Mother Earth. You are grounded, you are protected, and nothing shall harm you unless you give it your power. So be still and celebrate all that you are, a beloved of God. Thank you for putting up with the inconveniences, and be still now and relax. And I look forward to your company again. But for now, keep warm. It's bitterly cold here, and we'll speak to you soon. Namaste, Shalom, Inshallah, Pax et Bonum, OmShanti, Solo di Caritas, Salam Alaikum, peace, and God bless you.